And he won't like that. He won't like the fact that his economic polling is plummeting. So this has to work quite quickly, doesn't it? So now the American people have moved from blaming Biden to now blaming Trump. And his own approval rating on the economy is plummeting pretty rapidly. Now, I know Trump well, as you do.
Obviously, all we're going to hear is the fear-mongering from the other side. Everything from the past 8 years when he first came in, it was, we're going to go to war with Korea. He was a Russian asset. We're going to go to war. Everything is fear-mongering. Piers, the guy hasn't been in for 3 months.
Picture this. Trump, red-faced on the golf course, smacking a ball into the rough, and then throwing a tantrum like a toddler denied candy. Now imagine Piers Morgan, his former defender, using that exact footage to publicly mock him in the Daily Mail. That's exactly what happened, and it's just the tip of the iceberg in this friendship gone sour. In the next 10 minutes, I'll show you exactly how Morgan went from Trump's biggest cheerleader to his most savage critic, and why Trump can't handle the harsh truth bombs. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
It's not the principle of leveling tariffs, which can be debated, or the overarching philosophy behind it, which is that America should be doing more manufacturing. I think most people agree with that. Let me start with you, Cenk. Where are we with tariff gate? Because it seems to me the biggest problem right now for the administration. The real problem is the constant mixed messaging from the top people at the White House is causing, I think, real uncertainty and real damage, not least to Donald Trump's approval ratings on the economy.
Remember when Piers Morgan couldn't get enough of Trump? This British TV personality used to defend our former president like he was getting paid by the word. Every scandal, every controversy, every time Trump tweeted something ridiculous at 3 a.m., there was Morgan ready to explain why it was actually brilliant. Their bromance was the talk of the media world, with Morgan playing the role of Trump's #1 cheerleader across the pond. But oh, how quickly things can change in the world of celebrity friendships.
So, as you know, Piers, on this show, I said they'll never last. They're maniacal. And I also said, as you're pointing out, that tariffs can be done right. They could be targeted and strategic based on, 100%. There's really no argument about it. I mean, the folks that are saying art of the deal are hilarious. So, and it can be proven very simply. So, first, he does these global, massive nuclear tariffs. Industries or countries in specific. So then Donald Trump backpedals, and you can tell it's a backpedal and not some sort of art of the deal because he got absolutely nothing in return.
The 2020 election marked the beginning of the end for this political love affair, as Trump's claims of election fraud grew wilder and his behavior more erratic. Even Morgan couldn't keep up the act anymore. It was like watching someone slowly realize they've been dating a narcissist. That awkward moment when the rose-colored glasses finally come off. On November 27th, 2020, Morgan published what can only be described as a brutal breakup letter in the Daily Mail.
Because one is supposed to go up while the other one goes down, but he managed to do both. And now China tariffs is super strong. Okay, just exemptions for iPhones and electronics. Why? Because he hadn't thought it through. He hasn't thought through any of this. So the 90-day pause was based on zero give back from any other country. It's because he had miraculously crashed the stock market and the bond market at the same time, which was previously held unimaginable. He's always doing this in a way that makes no sense at all. And by the way, if you like tariffs and you like the idea of rebuilding manufacturing in this country, Donald Trump just did massive damage to it.
The headline alone was a masterclass in British snark. Piers Morgan, put your toys back in the stroller and admit defeat, Mr. President, or your increasingly sad and pathetic sore loser antics really will make you diaper Don. Ouch. Not exactly the kind of supportive message you'd expect from a longtime ally. Morgan's article didn't just criticize Trump's policies or decisions, it went straight for the jugular, attacking his character and maturity. The British journalist seemed particularly amused by Trump's Thanksgiving Day golf tantrum, where our former president apparently hit a ball into a lake and had a meltdown about it. Morgan used this little golf course drama as a metaphor for Trump's larger inability to handle losing the election. The most devastating line came when Morgan directly addressed Trump, writing,
They've already had a lot of countries get in touch to try and do new deals. Is it right to judge this now, or should we be a little bit more patient? Notwithstanding, all right,
But it
Josh
has been a
Rogan,
disaster so far.
there are 90 days. Yeah, I mean, Josh, there are 90 days to negotiate with countries. According to people at the White House, the fairly reckless way that this has so far been rolled out.
Well, to be sure, Piers, there is a lot of truth to the fact that all of these countries are coming to make deals with the Trump administration. They were doing it before. They'll continue to do it.
For the love of God, Mr. President, grow up and concede. These weren't the words of some random liberal journalist. This was coming from someone who had spent years defending Trump on international television. It hit different. Morgan wasn't just criticizing a politician, he was scolding a friend who had disappointed him. What makes Morgan's takedown so effective is that he knows exactly which buttons to push. Having spent considerable time with Trump, appearing on his shows, and interviewing him multiple times, Morgan understood the former president's psychology better than most. He knew that comparing Trump to a toddler throwing toys from a stroller would sting more than any policy critique ever could. The Diaper Don nickname was precision targeted to hit Trump where it hurts most, his ego and his image as a strong, powerful man. Trump's response to Morgan's criticism was about as predictable as a sunrise. According to reports, he resorted to his usual playbook of childish name-calling and deflection, refusing to engage with the substance of Morgan's criticism. It was essentially a real-world version of the Twitter meltdowns we'd all grown accustomed to during his presidency. By reacting exactly as Morgan predicted he would, Trump inadvertently proved the British journalist's point about his immaturity, and the collapse of this media friendship reflects a larger pattern in Trump's post-presidency life. One by one, former allies have distanced themselves, recognizing that hitching their wagon to Trump's increasingly erratic star might not be the best career move. Morgan's transformation from loyal defender to savage critic isn't just personal drama, it's a symptom of Trump's diminishing influence and increasingly isolated position. What makes this particular falling out so fascinating is how thoroughly Morgan exposed the mechanics behind Trump's public persona. Having been an insider, Morgan knew that beneath the bluster and bravado was a man deeply insecure about his image, desperate for approval, and incapable of acknowledging failure. By poking at these vulnerabilities, Morgan didn't just criticize Trump, he demystified him. In the months following this brutal takedown, Trump continued to demonstrate exactly the kind of behavior Morgan had called out. Each angry statement, each refusal to accept reality, each attack on former allies who dared to speak against him only served to reinforce Morgan's characterization of him as an overgrown toddler unable to handle not getting his way. When a guy who once defended you at every turn suddenly calls you a walking train wreck, you know things have gone south. Morgan's journey from Trump superfan to harsh critic perfectly captures what happens when the curtain finally drops. He literally saw through the facade after years of making excuses for Trump's behavior. The sad part, Trump's still doing exactly what pushed Morgan away, throwing tantrums instead of showing leadership. It's like watching a tragic movie where the hero becomes the villain of his own story. So here sits grumpy Trumpy, increasingly isolated as former friends like Morgan tell the world what they really think. Talk about a political fall from grace.